Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you taking time out of y'all's busy schedule. Stop in and see what it is I'm up to. It is going on 5:30, Sunday, the 30th of October, 2022. Happy Hallows Eve. It is currently 77 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Humidity's at 83%, 25 degrees Celsius. Rather decent, not too cold. Definitely not hot, and I can breathe. So, uh, sorry, I was looking. My brother's got a bicycle sitting out front. Wondering where he got it from. Like sitting out front, looking to sell it. Uh, so, I am off to the son's house for dinner. Uh, let's see. Not really a whole lot since I talked to y'all yesterday. I mean, it's only been a couple of hours, really. And all I did was watch videos last night. I can't say that's all I did. I did putter around. Eventually, I'm going to be done puttering around in the kitchen. Eventually. uh, I keep redoing stuff I've done because I'm not crazy about how it is. It doesn't, like, you think it's going to work, and then you start looking at it all the time. It's like, I don't really like that. So I do that a lot, though. Second guess or third guess myself. Uh, Even like I made that cup holder stove, and it works the way it is. It's just there's ways that I could improve it. So those thoughts keep running through my head too. Do I want to take on another project? Do I need the project? That's the bigger question. Like, that was built for a specific need, and to show a friend the idea that was in my head, get it out and let him see it, and maybe copy it if he thinks it's going to work for him. So let him run with it, make the corrections. I don't really need it. Although right now I left it in the van. If I get the van back up and running again, I may actually use it. So, I mean, if nothing else, in the wintertime, if I'm sitting down at the river and want to keep a cup of coffee warm, or a cup of cocoa warm, or whatever, it'll work for that. So, All Hallows Eve. It's I don't know how many of y'all watching right now or listening or whatever are aware, but we ran a haunted house out of our house for 20 years, give or take. We're all pretty sure it was 20 years. So it started out. Well, that's a nice old Ford pickup truck. Um, it started out, the kids were they decided they didn't want to go trick or treating, so they wanted to do a party. It's all right. So you got a bunch of 13, 14, 15-year-olds. And we were sitting out handing out candy. And every time trick-or-treaters would come by, the kids would pop out and try to scare them. So they liked doing that. And the next year we set up a small pop-up tent, and set up a few decorations or whatnot. And we handed out the candy from in there. And the kids would pop out from behind curtains and whatever and try to scare people. Oh, wow, there's an old Chevy. Oof. Watch the road, Doc. Got ridiculous looking wheels on it. So anyway, it kind of went from there. And we went from the 10 by 10 to one of those portable carports here, 10 by 20. And then we added a second one of those. And then we got a big one that was 20 by 20 to go along with the two 10 by 20s. And then we went through the gate into the backyard and added another 20 by 20. And then we hit upon the idea of using old fence from a local fence company who basically gave it away. If you want the fence, come and get it, because otherwise he had to get rid of it somehow. But anyway, so we would take the fence panels and build hallways and rooms. And one year we took one of the 20 by 20 tents and built a saloon inside of it using the wooden fencing. Made it look like the inside looked like a log cabin with a tent roof. I really did not want to take that one down. But anyway, we ended up having something like, I don't know, 4,000 square feet or 4,000 running feet. Yeah, 4,000 running feet of hallway twisting around my yard, and little nooks where people could jump out and scare, and rooms that were set up. And it was a lot of work. We start probably in June making preliminary plans, sketches. By the end of October, or by the end of September, nothing really looked like our original plans, but it was going. It all came to fruition. So it just happened to be, well, this didn't work out this way. We made it this big, and that changed the way this was going to be. So, we kind of built on the fly. And it worked. So, we had massive amounts of decorations. We had an 18-foot box truck that was slap full, and then stuff stored in boxes in the tents. So we had people coming. They would load up in carfuls and come from Tallahassee or Tampa, or we had one guy who would come back every year dressed as Count Dracula, and his daughter basically watched her grow up from like a stroller up till a young teen, and they lived down in Miami, and every year they would come up. We had one couple stop. They were on vacation from Sweden, I think. It's been a while. We haven't been open for almost 10 years. But anyway, they would make their vacation plans so that they could come by and see the haunted house. Usually every other year, sometimes every year. And we had some crazy events. At one point, we had one room where you walked in and the box truck was there. And you walked into the room and it was all covered with hanging bodies, mannequins and whatnot. and there was a door at the far end. Well, once you walked in, the door slammed shut. You came through, and the back door on the box truck flew up, and there were two guys in there with chainsaws and knives. And yeah, people went hysterical. They were trying to they grab a hold of the door, and they're pulling on, trying to make it open. Well, that door was screwed into the the 4x4s that held the fence up. It wasn't opening. You had there was actually an opening on the fence. Um, the fence opened up like a gate. But over the night, people would pull on that door so hard that before we opened the next day, we would have to go and drive the screws back in. So, they would wrench on that. We had a group of guys come through on motorcycles with their ladies. They were parked up the street a little bit, which is probably one reason why we got closed down, because parking. They went all the way up to the main street. But anyway, coming towards the end of the haunt, we had to chainsaw. It was the final scare, and this group hit that scare, and the chainsaw started. Those three guys on bikes went running. They ran. They left their ladies behind and just took off. So that was one of the lighter moments. But we've had people, numerous people that would pee their pants or vomit. We had one neighbor lady that she peed herself almost every year, and she knew she was going to do it. But we would, and of course, everybody knew it, and everybody wanted to be the one that made her pee. So she got the extra attention from every haunter. But and one scene, my daughter was standing there and standing at the one end of the room, and as you came in, and she was hollering, "Help me, help me, help me." And just as she would say that, her husband would grab her by the hair and cut off her head, and the body would drop. Of course, she was standing behind a wall, and the body would drop. Well, that freaked people out, and it freaked one person out so much. One kid out. I guess she was kind of a young teen, like 12 or 13. And she totally lost it. We had to take her out of the haunt. She was screaming and hollering, "But they killed Miss Melinda! They killed Miss Melinda!" Even though Melinda was right there telling her that she was fine. So that was one that you may have actually seen in a professional haunt afterwards, because it was one that we had several big names from the haunt industry. Big haunted houses around our area, down in Orlando and whatnot, would come through and check out our exhibits. And there were a couple of them that got improved upon, because we were working on a $2 budget. They're working on a $2 million budget. So there were a few of the things that got reinterpreted and reused. So this time of year is bittersweet, all of us miss it to some degree. Don't really miss the work, the work leading up to it. It was hectic. Late nights for 2 or 3 months, and then when it's actually happening, you have to be there early in the day to repair any damage from the night before. And so when the city came in and shut us down, like I said, it was kind of a bittersweet moment. Of course, it wasn't but a month later that I was in the hospital with, actually, I think it may have been less than a month, a week later. I was in the hospital with pneumonia and diagnosed with congestive heart failure, an enlarged heart, and ended up spending like 3 weeks in the hospital, and then a couple months later getting my pacemaker. Excuse me. But all the kids were able to focus more on their businesses. Excuse me. You know, instead of my son coming over to my house at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and spending, 5 or 6 hours there. Same with my son-in-laws, the daughters, whatever. They were able to put a lot of that time into their own business. The weekends, instead of spending all those weekends working on the haunted house, they built their businesses. So, like I said, it's been close to 10 years. I think it's 9 or 10 years. And all their businesses are doing great. I mean, maybe a little bit of a brag or whatever, but actually my youngest daughter and her husband have a totally different business than what they were trying to build up at that point. He went from being home repairs to a home inspector, and he's doing fantastic. So my other daughter and son-in-law my daughter works for a company, and they have their home repair company, and then my son's got a home repair company, and yeah, everybody's doing great with it. So neat little tabletop. I do not need it. What do we have here? Bookshelf and a table. No, it's one of them pressboard bookshelves. Anyway, we are at the end of the run, the end of today's ride. Let me know what you think, folks. Give me a thumbs down or thumbs up. Leave me a comment wherever it is y'all leave comments on your internet access device of choice. If you'd like to share me around your social media, that'd be fandoculous. If your loved ones are nearby, give them a kiss and a hug. If they're not, give them a call. Hit them up on Facebook. Let them know you think about them. Let them know you love them. We ain't promised tomorrow, people. We ain't promised our next breath. Till I see y'all again, I hope you have a fandoculous day. So long to y'all.